And out of 30,000, if bank say 5,000 is your minimum amount due. So if you don't pay 30,000, still you pay 5,000, means the bank will not apply any fees. So you have to be very careful when you take a credit card because it impacts your credit score. So the next loan that you want to take, it will impact that. So next we will talk about the UPI, the most important thing that you use every day. Good morning, one and all. Can you hear me? Wow, now I can also hear you. So how are you doing today? Great. So before I start off, one of the most important things that I wanted to share with you. For any such event, the most important thing is to establish a connection between a speaker and the listeners. So today, when I'm going to present something to you which most of you may not be even aware of, you may find it something like a bouncer or maybe something that you are using every day but you never realized in your life. So we are going to talk about the transaction that you do every day using your UPI or your credit card. Sometimes you become a victim of a fraud. Sometimes you or your friends, your family member face some challenges in getting those services and availing those facilities and services that a bank provide to us. So before I get started, I would like to sincerely thanks and I'm truly grateful to the Noski family for giving me this opportunity to meet you all in person and help me cascade this knowledge, the fundamentals of banking and payments to all of you together. So thank you so much once again and let's get started. Before we get into the detail, I would just quickly present what all things we are going to discuss today. First of all, I'll start with a brief introduction about myself. Moving on to the understanding of this domain. Whatever I'm calling you as a card and payment domain, you must have heard about banking a lot of time. But this term, card and payment domain, may be new to you guys. But I'll help you understand, and that's as a speaker, my responsibility to make things extremely easy for you guys to understand. I'll try to use a language in a layman terms so that all of you, when you leave this hall today, when you leave this auditorium today, whenever you are making a transaction on a payment point of sale terminal or any mobile application, website, you're scanning a QR code, you can proudly say that, yes, I know what's going on behind the scene. The difference between a credit, debit, and prepaid card. You must have used maybe credit and debit card a lot of times, but maybe you're not aware of what exactly the difference between these three type of cards that you generally use in your day-to-day life. We will talk about the basic transaction flow. We will also talk about some innovations like UPI, tokenization, QR code, and also we'll understand a basic transaction flow of UPI. And then we will also talk about the financial literacy, the most important thing for all of you to understand. Then we will talk about some career opportunities may or may not be relevant immediately to you guys. So at last, we will have a fun quiz where I would like to hear the noise of all of you. It's just that you have to say the right answer of 5 or 6 questions. So why this term card and payment? Card means a card. If not you, your parents must be using a credit card or a debit card or a prepaid card, right? So in a very easy language, very easy terms, whenever somebody use a credit or any type of card to make a payment to whom? When you're buying grocery, when you are buying maybe food, when you're doing shopping online, or maybe you're in Carrefour. So whenever you are at a merchant store, making a payment to whom? To merchant, right? You're getting some goods from a shopkeeper, from a grocery shop or any other shop, cloth shop or whatever it is. You're getting some goods from them, and then by giving your card and making a payment means you are giving money to the merchant against the goods that you have got. And this is the reason this is called its card. Card means card, and payment means you are making a payment. That's the card and payment domain. But wherever you go, you get a card from a bank. Is this the only bank who makes the domain? Is this the bank who makes this entire ecosystem? No, that's not true. So who are the key players, the key actors who ensures that how you get your card? The first thing is how you get your card. Maybe you are applying a card through a bank. The moment you get a card, you start utilizing it and making payments. So when you make payment, is it only a bank who ensures the end-to-end successful transaction? Or maybe getting an approval for your QR code transaction, or getting an approval for your UPI transaction? Is this only a bank? Can somebody tell me, is this only a bank, or someone else is also there to ensure that your transactions are getting through end to end and it is fully secure? Now we'll talk about all the key actors in the payment industry. The first one is card holder. Can somebody tell me who is the card holder? We as a user, we are the card holder. Who gets a card from the bank is a card holder. What is point of sale terminal? Point of sale terminal is the terminal where you tap your card or you insert the card, right? That's your point of sale terminal. Then next is payment gateway. When you enter your card, expiry date, CVV value, which is printed on the back side of your card, on a maybe a website or on a mobile application. So the web page, which is gathering or collecting your information of card, is actually an integrated page for a payment gateway. In a layman terms, again in a very easy terms. So this is what a payment gateway is. What is next? Merchant. I just now described to you who is a merchant. Grocery shop. It's a physical entity. Who is a merchant? Those who are giving you services or goods, and in return you make them payment. You give them money. So that's your merchant. Now the key player. I will start talking about acquiring bank. So now you will start hearing the term related to bank. Acquiring bank is any other bank that is out there you may be interacting with. You may have account or anything. It could be ICICI, it could be HDFC, it could be maybe any other bank in India, outside India, okay? The bank who enables a merchant to accept a payment. So in other words, in a very easy language, acquiring bank is a bank who provides this payment gateway or maybe as a point of sale terminal facilities to a merchant. So it could be the same bank from where you have got the card, but it's just that there is an acquiring services. The name acquiring means they are acquiring the transaction that you are making at a point of sale terminal at a merchant. So acquiring bank is just any other bank who enables merchant to accept payments through either online or point of sale terminal, right? So this is what an acquiring bank can be. Now the next one is, after acquiring bank, what is next? Acquirer processor. Acquiring processor. What does acquiring processor means? It's an organization, can be an organization, a company, a group of people, those who are writing a solution, a software or a product and selling it to the bank. Which bank? Acquiring bank. So ultimately look at the connection here. The point of sale terminal is running and there is a system, there is a software behind acquiring point of sale terminal. Payment gateway is running and accepting all the online transactions, correct? So there is a software, there is a product running behind that particular payment gateway. So the company or the organization who writes the code, who develop and help this entire ecosystem to accept the payment, process it, ensure the security and safety of the transaction. That is what an acquiring processor is. The other entity is card network. What is card network here? Somebody was saying here Visa or MasterCard. If you have a card, credit card, you can take it out and see what brand is written on it. Either it could be Visa, MasterCard, or most likely in India, RuPay. So card network is an entity which is a gatekeeper between an acquirer and the issuer. So I'll explain you what is issuer here so that you can understand the network here. So the card that you have, credit card or debit card or prepaid card, you must be getting it from a bank, right? So you must be getting it from a bank, could be ICICI or HDFC. So if you are getting a card from ICICI Bank, then it means ICICI is an issuer of your card, who is issuing the card to you or your parents or your friends or relatives. So that is your issuing bank. And the last one is issuing processor. Just like acquiring processor, the company, the organization who writes the code, who develop the product, who develop the software and enable an issuing bank is the issuing processor. And in between you have card network, which I'll explain you with the help of the next diagram. What happens when you use your credit card or debit card or a prepaid card on any of the point of sale terminal or payment gateway? What happens? So this is you, card holder, right? So the moment you use your card on a point of sale terminal or a payment gateway, the transaction goes to the next entity. What I told you is acquirer bank. So it goes to acquiring processor or acquiring bank. Why together? Because acquiring processor is providing the acquiring softwares and the solutions to acquiring bank. And from there, the transaction goes to a gatekeeper, what I said is Visa, MasterCard or RuPay. And from there, it finally reaches to your issuing bank who has issued your card. They will validate all your card details, your CVV, your expiry, your PIN, your balances, everything will be validated by the issuing bank. Now, if I give you a very good example here, think of this. Somebody has a credit card of ICICI Bank, and now you're using the credit card on a point of sale terminal given by HDFC Bank. So what's happening? The transaction is initiated from the HDFC Bank terminal. When HDFC look at the transaction, it doesn't get to know whether it is ICICI Bank card or any other card. Because as an acquiring bank, they cannot have the data of issuing bank credit cards or any card detail. They cannot. So for that reason, what they have is, if you will take out your card, you will see there are some numbers printed on your credit card or a debit card, 16-digit number. The first 6-digit or 8-digit of your card is called as PIN, bank identification number. So acquirer will be able to identify whether it is Visa card, it is RuPay card, or it is MasterCard. Based on that, they will send it to one of the card network. If it is RuPay, they will send it to RuPay, and RuPay will decide whether it belongs to ICICI or some other bank. So that's how the entire transaction processing is done. How many of you know the credit, debit, and prepaid card difference?
And then when you have money, you can repay, but it's a cycle of 30 days. If not paid, then charges will be there. And if debit card, we can take direct to our saving accounts, payment through saving accounts.
Very well drafted answer. What's your name? Aman. Aman has given a wonderful answer to this definition basically of credit card. Most of you know credit card is an easy access to the fund given by the bank, and you get some balances over the period of 30 days. You utilize that balance, and then of course after 30 days, you get 20 days of period to pay that back to the bank. It's an easy way to get loan from the bank. Think of this way. If you apply for a loan through a saving card, it may be a tedious process to get a loan from the bank. But credit card is an easy way to get some amount as a lending from the bank, and then you pay it back. Saving debit card is linked to your account, which is very simple. And then the prepaid card, again, you must have used wallet. So prepaid card is what you have used in the wallets. Okay, it's your money, you load to the wallet, and then you keep on using it. The difference between debit and prepaid is, if you have 1 lakh rupees balance in your saving account, it means your debit card also has a balance of 100,000 rupees, right? But if you have 100,000 rupees of balance in your saving card, and if you transfer only 5,000 to your prepaid card, then it means your prepaid card has balance of only 5,000 rupees. So there is a less risk if you carry your prepaid card, but there is a more risk if you carry your debit card with you. So this is the difference between all these three. Next, quickly, I'll talk about some innovation which you already know, tokenization. Tokenization is when you store your card in any of your wallet application. So for example, I have stored my card. This is my card. Okay. So when I'm not carrying my card, but I created a token of my card in a mobile application, that means I'm creating a token. So it is a safe way to basically make transactions. Even if somebody takes my phone, unless they are unable to, they are able to open it, they will not be able to basically make a transaction because it is highly secure. Unless it recognizes my face, it will not enable the card and nobody can use it. So that's the safety and security tokenization provide. Similarly, when you store your card on Amazon or Zomato, when you store your card, so this is where also the tokenization comes into the picture, and that's called card on file tokenization. So next we will talk about the UPI, the most important thing that you use every day. How many of you know that what is the role of NPCI in case of UPI transaction? So let's try to understand this with the help of an example. Please take a look at it because you are doing it every day. So let's assume you are transferring some fund from your phone pay to someone who has Google Pay UPI ID. So what happens? So when you initiate the transaction from phone pay pass on your bank information to NPCI. And NPCI, based on the UPI ID that you have entered against Google Pay account. So if I'm transferring fund to someone, so I will enter his Google Pay ID in my phone pay ID. So based on his Google Pay UPI ID, NPCI will get his bank account detail in step number 4. So now NPCI has 2 bank account details, right? One is the account to be debited, one is the account to be credited. Very simple. So they will send a debit transaction to the remittance bank and debit the transaction and debit the account, and subsequently they will send a credit transaction to the beneficiary and credit the account. So in total 8 steps your transaction is done, and after that just a notification is sent that transaction is successful, so that both side user, the payee as well as the payer, both the user get to know that this particular transaction has been successfully approved. So at step number 11, the entire transaction flow is done. How many of you know what is liability? Yeah, please. Maybe I'll give. What's your name? Ananya. So what is liability?
It is a type of loan or any debit might have taken from you that you ought to pay, ought to repay, you have to repay,
Correct.
and that may form pressure.
Exactly. Very good answer by Ananya. So when you take a credit card, means you are liable to pay that amount back to the bank. So you have to be very careful when you take a credit card because it impacts your credit score. So the next loan that you want to take, it will impact that. Similarly, there is monthly limits, there are due date and minimum amount due. So the education that you need is, you need to understand when you take a credit card, it comes with a cost. It comes with the cost. Why? Because when you miss on paying any of your outstanding amount, then you are liable to pay additional fees, additional charges to the bank. And that's why the most important thing is minimum amount due. You have to understand this concept. So minimum amount due is if you have used your credit card for 30 days, okay, and after 30 days, you are liable to pay 30,000 rupees to the bank. And out of 30,000, if bank say 5,000 is your minimum amount due. So if you don't pay 30,000, still you pay 5,000, means the bank will not apply any fees to you. But bank will still apply interest to the remaining amount of 25,000 rupees. So this is what the minimum amount due. Then I would also encourage you to go to your digital banking, because bank provides a lot of facilities and functionalities on your mobile banking application where you can use these services to enhance your user experience. Okay, so there are a lot of fees and charges also that you need to understand. You can go through this list of all the fees that a bank can apply. Three things you need to know against any fraud. The first thing is you have to immediately block your card. Immediately block your card. Then you have to go to the bank or call the bank and tell them, please raise a dispute or chargeback against my fraud, because I have not done this transaction. Somehow, some fraudulent people have done that and I want my money back, so please raise a dispute. This is the second step you have to do. The third step that you have to ask a bank is, please give me a temporary credit against the fraudulent transaction. This is your right to ask these three things from the bank. Within a week or 2 weeks of time after the fraud has happened, bank should give you a temporary credit based on their business terms and condition. They should give you the temporary credit in your account. And after that, you should also ask one basic question to them: why your fraud system could not capture this transaction as a fraud? And why did you allow this? If you ask these four questions, I'm 100% sure you will get a satisfactory answer from the bank. So I'm done with my session. So the last, only 6 questions, and I want to hear the noise. So tell me the answer of this. How many of you know? The right answer is NPCI. Okay. Can a bank give credit on a prepaid card? Very good answer. So you guys are already educated. What NPCI stands for? Very good. C. Yes, the right answer is C. You don't have to uninstall your mobile application if you have done rest of the 3. Which one of the following is not a function of core banking system? Surprisingly, if a credit card holder pays the minimum amount due, what will happen? A is the right answer. Thank you. Thank you so much. So at last, I would like to really thanks to the entire management of Nosge Public School. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.